welcome back. So, we will start from the position where we have left it in the last class. So, in last class if you recall there were two equations, that is where we ended up. We have the first equation which is we got this by taking a derivative of the velocity, and then there is a second equation. Now, the first relation essentially is originating from this constraint condition that v square v x square plus v y square plus v z square is equal to c square, which is taken as constant, because we are talking about a fixed velocity. We want at present we want to see the distribution of components for a given velocity. Now, and so because there is a constraint condition in differential form and there is a relation also in form of a differential, I mean it is in its differential form, all three coefficients of dvx, dvy and dvz cannot be independent of each other, because there is a constraint condition as mentioned in the upper relation. So, the way in order to handle this, we have to use Lagrange's undetermined multiplier. Now, if you are not familiar with how Lagrange's undetermined multiplier works, I would request you to go back to your mathematics lectures, or if you have taken a classical physics course already, probably it is discussed when you were the foundation of the basics of Lagrangian dynamics was discussed, but mostly it is found in mathematics books. Okay. So, we will switch to now, for today's content, we first start with the concept of Lagrange's undetermined multiplier. I mean, sorry, not the concept, but the application of Lagrange's undetermined multiplier. So, basically we add equation 3 and 4. At first we multiply equation 3 with a constant lambda. Now, lambda is totally arbitrary, because equation 3 is what? Essentially it is 0. So, we can multiply anything with 0 and that still remains 0. And then we add it with equation 4. So, basically we are adding something with 0. So, we are not violating any mathematical laws, and once we separate the once we put everything under dv, I mean with the factor dvx in one bracket and dvy in another bracket and dvz in another bracket, we get this particular relation. Now, as we have already mentioned, there are 3 variables and there is one constant condition. So, out of that 3 variable, only 2 can be independent. Now, because we have this Lagrange's undetermined multiplier in hand, what we can do is, so in other words, in mathematical words, if we have let us say, okay, let me quickly write this if it makes any sense. Yeah. So, let us say we have a situation where we have C1, okay, sorry, just a minute, I do not want to use, yeah, C1 dx1 plus C2 dx2 plus C3 dx3 plus, where is it, yeah, plus Cn dxn, and if this is equal to 0, in order to have all x1, x2, x3, xn, if all these coordinates are independent, we can say that C1, C2, C3, Cn are individually 0. That is when we have every coordinate as independent. So, now let us go back to our situation. We have something with dvx plus something with dvy plus something with dvz equal to 0. And we know that dvx, dvy, dvz, out of these 3 only 2 are independent. So, what we can do here is we can, so out of these 3 coefficients only 2 will be 0 or sorry, yeah, 2 will be individually 0, the third one will be not, but we have this Lagrange's undetermined multiplier in hand. So, by using that, what we can do is we can make the third relation, third coefficient also equal to 0, because this lambda, let us assume that dvx, the coefficients of dvx and dvy were already 0. For dvz, we have this lambda in hand and we can always choose a suitable value of lambda, so that this whole thing becomes 0. Now, once we do that, we are free to do that because lambda is anyway undetermined, we get all three coefficients like this one and this one and this one individually equal to 0. So, we can write an equation, for example, for the first one we can write f prime v x of divided by f v x plus lambda v x is equal to 0, and these relations are very easily integrable, absolutely without any problem we can integrate those and we can get f of v x is equal to a to the power minus lambda v x square by 2, right. But and also we have to remember that we have very similar expression for f of v y and f of v z, because all three equations are identical, all three coefficients of this equation are identical. So, if v x functional form of f v x is known, f v y and f v z is also known, and we have rho c is equal to n a cubed e to the, and please remember a is the constant, the same constant we are using in all three cases for all three functions. So, rho will be n times, remember rho was f v x, f v y, f v z times n, right. So, that product will be simply n a cubed e to the power minus lambda by 2 v x square plus v y square plus v z square. Now, writing v x square plus v y square plus v z square is equal to c square and defining b is equal to lambda by 2, a new constant, we write rho c is equal to n a cubed e to the power minus b c square. Now, next we want to compute these two constants a and b, and finally, we would like to compute dNc, which is the total number of molecule in the gas assembly, okay, that has a speed between c to c plus sorry, I will just bring it up a bit. Yeah. So, finally, we want to compute dNc, which is the number of gas molecules in the range c to c plus dc, right. Now, now the question is how to compute a and b for this relation. Okay. Oh, sorry, let us first focus on dNc, how to compute dNc using this relation. So, once again we assume that in velocity space the molecules are moving on. Now, if we want to compute the total number of molecule that has a speed c, please remember it is not velocity anymore, it is the speed. Speed is what? Speed is simply a magnitude. So, once we want to compute the speed, we basically have c, okay, I have given it, I mean I have drawn it like a vector, but it is frankly speaking it is not a vector, it is simply a scalar. So, all the molecules which will have a speed c will lie on the surface of the sphere, right. And what do we want to compute? We want to compute the number of molecules in the range c to c plus dc, because of course, we cannot really calculate the exact number of molecules that are moving with c, we always have to define a range dc, small range. Okay. Now, in the speed c to c plus dc essentially means that this number essentially means the number of molecules in the velocity space which will lie inside this thin shell. You see this shell is marked, the shell has a thickness dc. So, we have a sphere of radius c which is a hollow sphere, and then there is a spherical shell of thickness dc, and whatever molecules are or whatever gas particles are inside this spherical shell, they will have the speed between c to c plus dc. Now, what is this volume, thin volume? This is simply 4 pi c square dc. I hope you are all familiar with this treatment of spherical shell. If not, just try to understand Okay. It is nothing very complicated, just try to understand, look at this picture over here and you will realize why the volume is 4 pi c square d c. So, and we already have this expression for rho. So, we have density expression, we have the expression for volume. So, the final number is nothing but dNc is equal to 4 pi c square d c times rho c, which is dNc equal to 4 pi n a cubed c square e to the power minus b c square d c. Right. Now, this is our expression for the famous Maxwell velocity distribution, and next what we want to do is we want to determine the constants A and B. Now, the determining one of the constant is, I mean both the constants are easy. So, one is very straightforward, the one we are going to take up first. All we have to understand that if we integrate this dNc for all possible velocities starting from 0 to infinity, we should get the total number of molecules or total number of particles, gas particles present, that is n. So, integration 0 to infinity dNc is nothing but n, and this integration you can write as 4 pi n a cubed integration 0 to infinity e to the power minus b c square d c. Right. So, just from this expression you can write that. Now, this class of integration is a special class of integration called the Gaussian integration, which has this following form: 0 to infinity x to the power n e to the power minus k x squared dx is equal to 1 by 2 k to the power. So, I should actually put a bracket here, yeah, just a minute, yeah, k to the power 2 n plus 1 gamma n plus 1 by 2, where gamma is a special class of function called the gamma function. So, I am not going into the details of this, but once we compare we see this n here is equal to 2. Okay. So, n is 2 and minus k x square is minus b c square. Okay. So, if we can make a 1-to-1 correspondence, the integration, this integration gives 1 over 2 b to the power 3 half gamma 3 half. Now, gamma 3 half, there are standard tables for gamma function, you can always look up. Gamma of fraction is allowed, gamma of integer is allowed, only thing is gamma of minus integer is not allowed. Any other real and imaginary function, real and imaginary number can have value in the gamma function table. So, 3 half is there, you can compute that, you can have a look at that tables which are freely available on internet, and the value is root pi by 2. Simplifying, we get this relation that A is equal to root over of b by pi. Now, to find out b, now that means what? Instead of two constants, we have A and B here, we can express A in terms of B. So, all we have to do is we have to find out B from by some other means, and for that we need to use the elementary treatment of pressure from using kinetic theory. Right. Now, let us go back to our first picture which we have drawn. We have drawn a similar figure, a cube or parallelogram that is containing the gas, and here we just representing this in the velocity space, or actually should not we should make it x, y and z, not v x, v y and v z, sorry, there is a small mistake. So, it will be simply x, y and z. Now, strictly speaking, this is not exactly the oh yeah, that is fine, I have already drawn the right handed coordinate. So, this is fine, right. Oh yeah, so yeah, I have written v x here. Ideally, it should be x in this direction, y in this direction, but just for the sake of simplicity, I know it is wrong, but let me write y here and x here, as I have already written all the expressions in terms of v x, knowing that it is wrong. It is not exactly the right handed coordinate system we are familiar with, this is the left handed coordinate system, but that is okay. I mean, it is just a representation, not very, we can afford to do this, take this liberty. Now, Just focus on this elemental area dA on the surface. Let us say this is the x axis, although frankly speaking it might be y, but it does not matter. So, let us say this is the elemental area. Now, any particle this marked in red that is hitting this wall and going back. Now, this phenomena is responsible for pressure. Please understand this. Pressure in a gas container is primarily because the molecules are being bombarded on the boundary wall. Now, let us assume this particle is moving in this direction with making an angle theta, and it will recoil in another in this direction with another making this angle theta. So, altogether there will be a deviation of 2 theta. But because these are elastic collisions, that is one of the basic assumption of kinetic theory, the total change in momentum will be only along the x direction, and this will be delta p x is equal to 2 m v x. Let us say it has velocity components v x, v y and v z, only the x component will change its direction because these are elastic collisions. Right. Now, if we try to find out the total force or impulse of force in a time interval, short time interval dt on this small area dA, that will be given by dfx times dt, that is the impulse, and it will be given as n superscript x v dv delta px. Now, the first term is the number density. I will explain that little in with some little more detail. dV is the volume of the cylinder which has a side one of the sides, the cross section area dA, and the length of Vx dt. Because if we are considering a short time interval dt, only the gas molecules these are within this distance can strike the wall. Anything that is lying outside this distance will not be able to reach the wall in this short interval of time. So, this explains a lot, this explains why this dV can be written as dA times dt times Vx. Delta Px is already the momentum change is 2 m Vx. Please do not mix it up with the pressure, because unfortunately for pressure and momentum we have to write the same, we write p, small p. So, I am just trying to put a delta Px, and please note that this is momentum, nothing to do with pressure as of now. Okay. So, anyway, we put the value of delta Px as 2 m Vx. Now, coming back to Nvx, what is that? This is the total number or number density, that means the total number of molecules in this assembly with the speed v with the x component of velocity Vx divided by the volume. So, in brief, N Vx is d n Vx by V, right. d n Vx is something that we have already defined. So, yeah, so I have just substituted for d n Vx in the next slide, you see, well, in a moment. So, now we want to compute the pressure. What is pressure? Pressure is, now you see this dt, this dt from this side and dt from this side cancels out nicely, and finally, we have the pressure expression which is dfx by dA, that is force per unit area, which is 2 m Nvx Vx square. Now, and this is only for this is this elemental pressure dpx on this area, right. Now, if we want to compute the, but anyway does not matter because we are taking the derivative. So, pressure at this point, pressure on this surface and pressure on this entire face will be exactly the same, but also we have to remember that this is only for those molecules for which the velocity has a x component of Vx. What about the other molecules? There are many different speed ranges, different velocity ranges. So, we have to sum it up over all possible velocities in this manner. So, it will be P, the total pressure P x, which is equal to 2 m sum over n Vx Vx t. Now, we substitute for this n V superscript x is equal to d n Vx by V, which is nothing but n by V f Vx dVx. Let us go back quickly. Where is it? Right. Just a minute. Yeah. Remember this expression from the last class? N d n Vx is equal to n f Vx dVx. Similarly, d n Vy and d n Vz was defined. So, we are just using this expression, and finally, also we have to note that Px is equal to Py is equal to Pz. That means, the pressure in all directions are equivalent. There is only one pressure, right. So, it does not matter whether we measure it along x axis, y axis, z axis. So, the final pressure, we instead of Px we can write P. This is nothing but 2 by m, sorry 2m n divided by V, and integration 0 to infinity f Vx Vx square dVx. Okay. Now, if we compute this integral, once again we get this Gaussian type of integral, and this integral, I mean we have already computed this. What is the value here? We know the value is root pi by 4 b to the power 3 half, right. So, we just substitute for this. So, root pi by b cubed 1 over 4, and we get mn by 2b. Now, and instead of p, we just what do? We just take this v from here and multiply with p. So, finally, we compare it with the ideal gas equation P v equal to n kBt, where n is the total number of molecule. We simply get B is equal to m by 2 kBt. Now, we have A in terms of, we already know A is equal to root over of pi by B. So, we have B is equal to simply A is it was pi by B or B by pi, yeah, B by pi, right. So, A is equal to root over m by 2 pi kt, and the final expression, Maxwell's velocity distribution expression, is this dnc is equal to 4 pi n m by 2 pi kt whole to the power 3 halves e to the power minus mc square 2 kt c square dc. Now, we can write this as dnc by n, which is nothing but the density, number density of molecules in the speed range c to c plus dc, and we write this as f c dc, where f c is this function, right. Now, this is an interesting function. We have one term which is constant in terms of speed, but the coefficient, this term which is constant in terms of speed, but changes with temperature, and we have this term and this term which are which is dependent on both speed and temperature, and we have this term which is only speed. Now, look at this term. As look at this term, as the speed increases, this is going up as c square, and look at this term, as the speed increases, this is decreasing exponentially. So, for now, if we take temperature as a constant quantity, this term will be dominant at high values of c, and this term will be dominant for small values of c, and look at this black curve here. Okay. So, it will be something like this. Okay, let me quickly go back to this our class rough document sketch, and what we can do is I can try to draw this quickly for you, right. So, this is my C, this is my F C. So, we in F C we have one term which goes as c square, right. Okay. We have one term that goes as c square, and we have one term that falls off as no, not like this, maybe like this, yeah, falls off as e to the power minus c square, I mean some constant times c square, keeping the temperature constant for now, some constant times c square. So, the overall range should be, I mean overall summation should be something like this. At some point it should turn back and start going down, right. So, this is my Maxwell's speed distribution. Right. So, now in this part what I have tried is I tried to draw these 3 lines corresponding to 3 different temperatures. When I draw the previous one, I did not, I mean I considered temperature to be constant, right. But then when temperature increases, see what happens, this coefficient changes, I mean this factor also changes. So, overall there is a shift. Now, you think of why with increasing temperature this should be going right and why with decreasing temperature it should be going left, but I think if you just give it a thought you can find it out. So, I have given, I have drawn it for 3 different temperatures T1, T2 and T3, but also note that not only it shifts to the right or to the left, but please remember the integration 0 to infinity f c d c is equal to 1, it has to be, because what is f c? F c is nothing but f c d c is nothing but d n c by n. So, integration f c d c is mean from 0 to infinity means integrating d n c from 0 to infinity and dividing it by n, which will be n by n, which will be equal to 1. So, the area under the curve should be constant. Okay. So, if the peak shifts to the right, it should also smear out a bit, so that the area remains constant. Similarly, if it shifts to the left, it should be little sharper, the decrease should be little sharper, so that the area under the curve remains the same. Now, for today's lecture we will end here, and the next class we will try to define 3 quantities or 3 different speeds, which is the mean speed, the root mean square speed and the most probable speed for this velocity distribution. Okay. So, goodbye for now.